I play D&D and I liked it. Doom, doom, boom, my dice were plastic. I played D&D and I liked it. Doom, 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 doom. My crits were fantastic. I rolled so good, I rolled so bad. Then we met a beholder whose name was Chad. I played D&D and I liked it. Boom, 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 boom. My dice were plastic. It felt so wrong, it felt so right. We played D&D all stinking night. I played D&D and I liked it. Doom, doom, doo, doo. My dice were plastic. I rolled so high, I rolled so low. We couldn't find a town we wanted to go to. That didn't rhyme. I played D&D and I liked it. Boom, boom, doo-doo. The minis were plastic. Because, we were using WizKids. Boom, 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 doo-doo. My dice were plastic. Oh, man. Hola, cha-cha-cha, ooh. Hola, cha-cha-cha, ooh. Oh! All right. I don't know what those sounds are, what they mean, or why I'm doing them. But welcome. Greetings, everybody. Happy Saturday morning. One of the best parts of the week, if you ask me. That feeling when you wake up and you realize you ain't got to go work. You can muck about your home for several hours. You can wear your onesie. Let's see if this screen, let's see if we can switch it on over there. Where are we at? Hey. Hey, 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 hey. My dice were plastic. Okay. Wow, I think you can see my screen there. Looky there. So, what tarnation are you even looking at right now, you may wonder? What's that giant... Is that a nuclear cooling tank? Look, here comes a giant hand. No, that's my coffee mug. What you're actually looking at right there is the original Viking Death Squad. So, okay, let's get a little, by the way, I'm right back here. Hey, guys. So, as far as an introduction to today's stream, I wanted to just pick up on the heels of yesterday's Viking Death Squad video and try to continue to give tools and resources to people out there who are running Children of Azathoth at their table in the near future. Now, for those of you who don't know, it all began last spring when I was building Children of Azathoth, or the Viking Death Squad, for the Absolute Tabletop Convention in Tacoma. And I did a ton of crafting for the game at the little mini-con. And it included this cast of miniatures, as well as this Lucifer miniature back here, and some terrain. But also a lot of game design was created for it. And so now that almost a year has passed, we're coming back around to the sequel, the second adventure, which was in my video yesterday, which is a tribute to Nausicaa and kind of puts Thor in the mix and everything. And so for a lot of the stuff that I do, I know you guys out there playing either don't have the time or the tools or whatever to pull together a huge craft project for an adventure. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to run it at the table like a boss. And that's, obviously the origin of Index Card RPG, and the spirit behind Index Card RPG is that there are more than one ways to skin an adventure, right? To skin a cat, so to speak, which is a more disturbing saying. But I'm a big believer in print and play, and I mix print and play into my fully sculpted game tables. You guys know that I'm a crazy styrofoam and Sculpey crafter, but I also just really believe in print and play because you can get that custom feel so fast. And so what I wanted to do, Elbow of Alacrity, is draw out the 5 members of the Viking Death Squad, and then I'm going to post the tokens for them on Patreon. So there you go. But we'll do it right here. We're going to do it live right here. So first of all, let's put one of the Vikings into the spotlight here, and that's going to be Olaf. Dun, 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 dun. And Olaf liked it. Okay, so each one not only had a mini that I made, but I also did these custom bases, which are twice as thick as a common mini base. So I just used Sculpey and made a little disc. So you basically just roll yourself a ball with Sculpey and then squish it with something flat like a wine glass and then bake it, and you get that bottom half of the miniature that makes these minis feel twice as heavy. They stand taller than other miniatures, and to me it like gives them this sort of immortal feel. So each member of the Viking Death Squad not only had a miniature, and it's sort of an art component to him, but also a sort of a role in the group. And whenever you play the Viking Death Squad, you're basically playing pre-gens with a group of 5 players. So the role that Olaf plays is that he's kind of the elder of the group. So he is this like, double-bladed battle axer and so forth. Let's see if we can get a darker shot for you. So I'm going to just spin the shot here a little bit. Let's see if we can get him on his own terms a little bit. So he's this elder warrior, and the other bullet point that I have on him is that he chooses reason over rage, unlike a berserker, because he is kind of advanced in years, and he's the chief of the Death Squad. So he's the oldest of them and arguably the wisest, and he's just a big old badass basically. I don't know why my shot got so blown out. These light conditions seem to be a little grumpy on my stuff. Like, how dark does it have to be to look dark? Anyway, there he is. So I did the crafting. I am terrible at painting miniatures, by the way, but I struggle through it. Okay, so you can see him there, and now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of getting him where I like him in the camera shot so that he's a bit of a reference for the drawing that I want to do, which it's pretty close to that. I think I wanted to see a little bit of the inside of his shield rather than the sort of the money side of his shield. So let's just dive right in, okay? So this is Olaf, and Olaf is this, red-bearded, fur boot-wearing dude. And we're kind of going to be a little bit in the style of ICRPG, because that's just sort of how all my print and play minis are. But I think I'm going to start right up here, which is this sort of head shape. And this guy is just a lot of beard, like, what is that? Like 20% of him is beard. Hey, all 47 of you guys, man, thanks a lot for tuning in. And if you feel like you're not sure if CARDTOONS is going to be on a Saturday morning, let's just make a pact together, you guys. Let's make a pact that this is just going to be something that, unless I'm like out of town or laying in a ditch somewhere, we're doing CARDTOONS, okay? So I may announce it at the last second a little bit, but I'm just going to make an effort every Saturday morning to get up, put on my onesie, and get to work. And it's always going to be a stream that's going to be about drawing and how drawing fits into the game in different ways and so on and so forth. Because I had 2 games this week. One was Cryfoth, where I'm a player. And so the only real drawing I did for that was, like drawing while I'm playing. I'm always drawing my character or drawing a scene or something. And then the other game I had on Wednesday was my alternate history Vietnam game, which I was the DM for, and had the chance to do a lot of sort of crazy fun art for that. That was a real thrill. Okay, so there's my head on Olaf. Now just notice how few strokes and just how little work goes into that head, because remember, these are going to be pawns at the table. These are going to be little tokens that we're going to fold in half for the game table and put on bases. So you don't need tons of detail. What you need is strong shapes, okay? All right. So he's kind of shoulders, and then this arm is like back with a big fist right here, and then shoulders, and then this, we see sort of the inside of the shield. There we go. So you notice how I just did the same line 3 times and kind of bailed on it and then came back to it. That's because I really believe that you need to draw a lot of your lines in one attempt, not be unhappy with your first attempt and then insist and like scratch at it. Now I know some artists can do that and get good results, but I'm not that person. Okay, so he's got like a fur cloak and a really big belt. So we don't want to try to capture too many details, but we'll try to capture the clutch ones. So he's got this kind of chain. He's got a big fur kind of backing here. And now I like my shield line, but it just is a little off where it should be. It should be like right there. There we go. So good times in Photoshop as usual. Here's his axe hand, his axe arm, and then he's got like some bracers on here. And by now, I'm not even looking at the miniature anymore. I'm gone. I'm off in my own little world. I'm just making a badass the way that I see. Oh, he looks like Nelms, actually. Holy crap, I accidentally drew Nelms. Yo, Nelms. You're in the death squad, B. Okay, then maybe he has this kind of strap on here for his extra gear. Here's the other end of his chain shirt, which we'll do in a minute. And then this fur is behind him, so I'm just going to go black with it. And later you'll see I'll delete out some of this black so it doesn't get too heavy on us. But for now we're just going to give him some weight, you know. There we go. Get some weight down here. Starting to feel it now. The shield's a little bigger than I would imagine, so I'm going to go inside rather than out on the dark part, and then this whole thing is dark in here. So again, like you're thinking, man, this is a ton of black, dude. But remember, when you're doing tokens for the table, they're going to be like an inch tall. So like really strong blobs of black are going to pay off for you. They're, like you can almost do silhouettes for tokens and they work. But there's a trick, which is silhouetting the back of the token, and that'll give you facing on a print and play token. Yeah. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in, man. There's just folks are piling in their jammies. And you know, I'm not kidding in any way about a onesie. I'm wearing a onesie right now. And it is freaking amazing. Oh my God, so cozy. So much nicer than jeans and a belt and all that. Okay, so now I'm just sort of blobbing and strengthening this shield line, and then what I'm going to do is put some wear and tear on this shield line just by cut and do some little cuts like that. And while I have my eraser out, I'm just gonna, and you know, sometimes I use white ink and sometimes I use the eraser. I'm just erasing at the moment. So to get this fur, and now we're going to get a little bit of beard detail here. And that's it. That's all I need. Just extremely simple. Okay, for the bracer over here, I'm going to go black. Then I'm going to erase out the metal studs. There we go. And now the part that I've really been waiting for, which is the battle axe. You know, like doing a weapon in the hand of your character is always one of the funnest things. I don't know why. It's just something thrilling about it. Okay, so here's the fingers in here, and then you got that. That. Oh, screw it. I didn't mean for that to happen, but the haft of my axe just became black. Whatever. Rock on, baby. If that's how it's got to be, that's how it's got to be. Eating, I mean. All right, so now we're going to get this shoulder to be just a bit higher like that. Get a little contour. There we go. Olaf, the chieftain. Butt flaps are a must-have for onesies for quick poops. Deep comment. You know, onesies come in many, many different varieties. Here you can, while you're just sort of staring at the live cam down there, you can take a look at the Olaf from another view since he is a 3D object. Try to remember to keep things happening on that camera since you're not forced to look at my ugly mug the whole time like usual. Okay, so then he's got these kind of three, it's like a WWE type belt here. In my day it was WWF, but then the World Wildlife Federation was like, nah dude, just no. Panda bears, B. Panda bears, what you know. What it do. Alright, cool. Now that's looking pretty good. There's Olaf. So see, I think I've captured most of what he is. Now I'm just doing my due diligence to sort of finish the job. So I'm going to give him some grip here on the shield, give him an extra strap on the shield. So see, now his arm is kind of more integrated into the shield. And you know, is this like the most realistic, most clever, most dynamic pose ever? Hell no. It's okay. It's okay. So a little bit of perspective on my battle axe, meaning that that rear blade and the front blade, honestly, are a little bit foreshortened. I'm having a hard time finding it. There we go. But you know what? That's not how you would hold it. You would actually have it open bladed, wouldn't you? Because his fist is open, and so the blade would be open. So the blade is actually perpendicular to the camera like that. And I think that the double blade isn't really serving him very well, so I'm going to give him one of these. There we go. It feels a little more Olaf-y to me. So, you know, if you're seeing any little tricks here, there's, you know, obviously have just done hundreds of things like these. So there are little tricks to quickly get cues, like what a blade looks like, how a haft hooks onto a blade, and so on and so forth. All these little things that maybe I'm not discussing while I draw, but I hope they help you guys. I hope my presence is a positive one in the community. Alright, so little nicks in the blade because he's been around the block a few times, and now we're looking pretty good. The thumb is a little bit weak. There we go, just strengthen the bump on the thumb. Give him a little dot right there. Connect this, give him a complete arm. What we call manifold. A manifold piece of ink. So to make this manifold, we kind of do this. Manifold means that there's no openings. So like you could use the magic wand tool to choose the entire piece and it wouldn't penetrate the piece. All right, so these aren't manifold either. So we'll close those up. Here we go. All right, so we are past the initial portion here for Olaf. That's our first character. So now, in the spirit of making a token rather than just, you know, a piece of art, the legs are usually simpler and darker than you might do on a piece of sort of full-blown character art, because it can really ground the miniature on the table. So we're going to see if I can accomplish that here without completely botching the character. So yeah, again, like this pose is not anything to be proud of, but a good, simple, strong pose can be very handy at the table. Okay, now I'm just going to get a big old pen. You see that? Doot, 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 as I like to say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then just blorp these babies in. And then we're going to do a little bit of erasing to clean it up and a shadow, and we're done. Now, you know, how do I know how big to make legs? How do I know the proportions and all that stuff? Just, you know, eyeballing. Just, I don't have a good answer to that. He does have this longer cape, so we'll do that. Just eyeballing. And you know, when you're getting started and you're trying to figure out proportions, you know, like you can always grab things and scale them until they feel right. You can use a guide of like a human form. You can use the sort of 7-to-1 or 7 heads type rule. There's a lot of different techniques you can use if you're not comfortable, because it is hard to get a sense for like, well, how big are the legs and how big is the head and how does it all fit together? Okay, so I have my eraser, and I'm going to give him a little more mass on his torso here by erasing. I'm going to give him a little more mass on the belt, so see, kind of change that angle and push it out. And then we'll give him, what does he have for armor there? Looks like he's got some scale on his thighs, scale mail. So that's where you draw these little home base shapes. And then he's got like a main sort of codpiece or sort of battle skirt or war kilt here. And that's about it. Now the rest is just little bonus details. And then do some cuts to make you remember this is like a furry, worn out cloak. And just about there. Does he have any other gear? He has a short sword on his belt. And then he's got these fur boots, so I'm going to add little hairs down here for his fur. Add some hairs up here for his fur on his shoulders, or his mantle, if you will. And hey, we got 70 crazies tuning in. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Saturday. Happy Saturday, everyone. Oh my goodness. You gotta love those Saturday feelings. Feels so good to be alive. I'm sure everyone out there has their complexities and their duties, their responsibilities, everything they're going to face over the weekend and next week. But for just a brief moment, you can huddle around your coffee and just relax. Just let it be for now. Just let the world wait for just a minute, okay? Let's do that together. All right, so now you're getting the shadow done here. So you guys know me, I almost always do these sort of horizontal ground shadows. And the reason I do them just at pure horizontal, is it interesting as a piece of art? No, because there's no real perspective to it. But it does provide a very functional shadow for a miniature. Okay, there we go. All right, pretty good, huh? Not bad. So I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to go to this battle axe. I'm going to scale it up. Now remember, you can't scale things up much. You only get, maybe a 10 to 15% tolerance before some pixels will break down and some line weight will break down. But you can do very small adjustments. No big deal. And you can always do it like Jazza does, where you make things smart objects. And if you're really concerned about resolution and stuff, you can use smart objects, scale them as much as you want, and then rasterize them again, and you'll get good results. So if that's a trick you need, there it is. Now I'm just putting some little wraps and ties on his shield where maybe he's fixed it over the years or something. And then we're going to just a little bit of detail in the shield of like the handle and the planks and stuff. And I think there's my man Olaf. And you notice I never even drew a mouth for him. Does that matter? Like, oh, there we go. No, now he looks dumb. Often guys with really heavy beards, you don't even see the mouth. It's just in there somewhere. And I think that's it for Olaf. Yeah. You know what's fun? Oh, hey, Jorge. Hola, buenos días, amigo. ¿Cómo estás? Oh man, sweet, sweet Mexico. All right. Here we go. Just doing some cuts there to give this axe a little more character. And now I'm just like diddling. I'm not accomplishing anything. Now I'm just like hesitating to not move on. Okay, so that's going to be Olaf. Now, just for the sake of, I'm not going to put you guys through the process of making print and plays. But you guys probably know that here's what you do. You get your miniature, and you get it like that. You clone it. You flip it vertically. Make sure that it's aligned. You see those guides that all pop up, and then get yourself just that much gap, and then print that, and then you're going to fold right along here. And then what you do is you hold your miniature up to the light, and you'll see through the piece of paper, and you can get a perfectly aligned fold, and then you put it in your Pathfinder mini base, and that's how you make your custom-made print and play minis at home. But I'm not going to put you guys through watching me make the print and play versions because it's just too boring. But I am going to just give some nice little visual reminder here of what's at play. How do I move? Here we go. Okay. I keep forgetting I have a little bit of a camera feed up there. So this is Olaf. He is the chief of the Viking Death Squad. He's the oldest, and he uses reason over rage. Now, beyond this, I give my player some other mechanical bits that they can play with. Like he's got stats, and they're ICRPG stats. But I could also let my player build him. But I'll go +2 int, +2 strength. He's what? Oh yeah, +3 weapon. And we're going to just go +3 armor. And we're going to kind of make him pretty badass there. So he's, that's a 10-point build. So that wouldn't be quite immortal level. I would call it immortal level build, more like a 15-point build. But that's almost all I would give them, except maybe then a few milestone things, like maybe his axe is magical, maybe he has a few abilities based on his belt and his shield, and that's it. That's all that player needs. Now, if the player is playing Olaf and really wants to get into it and make Olaf a little more than what I've given them, then we're welcome to negotiate it at the beginning of the game. But really, that's Olaf. That's what you're going to get. So I just wanted to show you guys that's about what I'll build as a pre-gen. And then I'll say, hey, take 2 pieces of epic loot. Or I'll say, take a piece of sci-fi loot and a piece of epic loot. Or take 4 pieces of ancient loot and, load them up in different ways. But just try to keep it simple so that your player can take a pre-gen and just sit down and literally within seconds be making that first roll as they wake up as the Viking Death Squad, or as they fall out of a spaceship, or they're summoned by the gods. So let me manifold these little studs here. And we are done with Olaf. Let's move on. I play D&D and I liked it. My dice were plastic. So I'm kind of in the mood to draw some muscles. So let's get into Scar, who started as one of the Viking Death Squad and became my long-lasting and beloved character in Cryfoth. So this isn't exactly my character in Cryfoth, but it pretty much is. So this guy, we're going to get a little bit of a lead muscle arm. And this is Scar. So my notes on Scar are that he's like savage. He follows the old ways and he's the warden of the group. So he believes that like the Vikings in their most ancient form were the most true, and he wants to be that way. He wants to be totally a part of the earth. And what I mean by ancient is I mean like before they were even Vikings. I'm talking like Ice Age kind of level. He's that kind of dude. And so he's doesn't believe in like armor and trappings and sorcery. He has this real savage element to him, and that's what he brings to the group. So it's funny how all these stereotypic Viking names are what goes for regular ones here in Norway. Oh yeah, absolutely. And it is. I mean, it's cool, man. And I'm happy to see that the Viking heritage, both the Scandinavian as well as the Norman Vikings, there's a lot of different brands of Vikings, but I'm happy to see that it's found its place in world culture like it has, as this sort of, a bit of exaggerated legend in some ways. I think that's cool, man. I think it's a testament to what must have been, quite an era. Not all good by any means, but yeah. Okay. So where am I here? I'm doing Scar. Okay. Tor Egil. No doubt, right? Okay, so this is just going to be all muscle. So he's kind of looking up off camera here. And now let's just get this muscle started. This dude's just big, man. Fool is straight up yoked, you know what I mean? And he's also got these Ascend style gloves, which are just these big metal tubes with like a handguard on it like that. So he's just Gah. And then this back arm is mostly obscured. You can see it a little bit. There's that front fist. And exactly how you get the angle on that fist can really make him look like he's flexing. See that? Like you curl that fist in and it gives you that bodybuilder look. So this fool is straight yoked. He's swole, know what I mean? Alright, so now he has a much more modest belt as far as thickness. It's like that. And then he has this battle harness, which remember, dude, these lines curve so you get that feeling of volume. And then his battle harness has a little brace right there. And that's his outfit. So the rest is all going to be muscle like this. And then here's rib cage. We get those abs in there. Get the abdominus. Oh, the abdominus. There we go. Get those fish muscles on the side. Now you'll notice I'm getting some little sort of rinky-dink lines, right? Those aren't very strong lines, but don't worry. We're going to come back and make those into highlights and fills and make everything strong. I'm just getting a sense of where everything's going to be first. Okay, so now unlike Olaf, he's got this downward grip. like this. Like the weight of the blade of his axe is heavier. And now I've kind of botched a little bit of his glove, so I'm going to come down here a little bit. I'm going to kind of do this, and I think the glove is a little higher, and it's like that. And I'm just not worried about any of this because I'm going to fill it all in. Then he's got this sort of looks like fur garment here. And then he's got the big bare thigh. Okay, then we're in business. So we've got a good start to him anyway. Anybody know where I can buy cheap bases for printed minis? Just make them, Manu. Get yourself some Sculpey. Oh, you mean for 2D printed? Yeah, go on Amazon and look up Pathfinder Pawn Base. So for about $12, I think, you can get a nice little assortment of Pathfinder Pawn Bases. And you put a little popsicle stick in there. And you can look it up on my video. I've definitely shown how to do that several times. But it doesn't take glue or anything. It's real simple. I play D&D and I liked it. Okay, so here's where the shadow starts. On the back, I'm just going to do the whole delt and everything is in shadow. And here's this back arm. Okay. So you've noticed my flow here for doing Scar is totally different from how I did Olaf. Olaf, I really got the head figured out first. But I felt that it was more central to Olaf's character. Whereas with Scar, I feel that his muscle is more central to the character. So I'll make sure that I'm nailing that part first. Now that's not like good drawing practice per se. That's just how I work. It's basically a method to allay my insecurities about my drawing skill. Like, get that thing you're the most concerned about and get it nailed first, and then start moving on. Okay, so I just had a bigger pen there and just getting everything. Okay, this guy's got a big old, what my brother used to call a Gunter neck. Big old thick neck. Yo, look at the neck on that Viking, man. That's a crazy old neck. All right, and then on his back shoulder where this strap goes up, he's got his one piece of armor, which is this shoulder plate. It's like a big contoured shoulder plate like that. So I'll give it a little bit of a rim there and then an interior shadow. And then just grab my eraser and get rid of this shoulder. So is it sad because I drew a pretty good shoulder back there? Sure. But let it go. Just let it go. Okay, some little interior detail on the shoulder plate. And there's his shoulder plate. So he just has the one because he's just a baller like that. Okay, and then just going to do some interior cuts to keep those shoulders like going into it. And there, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Cool. Okay, so he's got his shaven head and his ears are out like that. Uh-oh, I'm going to sneeze. All right, now I wanted him to be looking up and off camera, so I actually did those ears wrong. You can barely see that ear, and then you can see this ear. Now see, just that tiny difference helps me get a cue for which direction he's looking. Now I could zoom in and get in close to do his head and face, but when you zoom in and you're making pawns or tokens, it can actually give you an over-exaggerated and sort of inappropriate perception of detail. So I find that it's better to stay out here, to stay far away, because you work in bigger, smaller, bigger, bolder details, and it'll make for a better token. Too much little drawy stuff, and you lose some of the power of the token. Okay, I'm going to keep this belt white to break all this black up, so I'm just going to get a heavy outline on it. And maybe a little bit of interior like that. Get some heavy ab muscle shadows. Just kind of going back on these doodly little lines and giving them strength now. Hey Hunter, man, every time you come on the stream you throw $5 in the can. I really appreciate that, dude. Thank you, sir. Those are hard-earned dollars. Your dinars. It is much appreciated, my man. It's just every little bit helps when you're living on this stuff, you know what I mean? Alright, so here's the glove. I'm just getting my lines to be more bold now that I'm feeling good about it. Oh, I'm feeling good, alright. Woo! It's Saturday, Saturday, Saturday. I don't even get to put one little whisker on his head. He is just as bald as... He's as bald as the Himalayas. I don't know what that means. Alright. Okay, great. Feeling good. I feel like that left bicep should be longer. Which one is left? Oh, the shadowed one? I think it's not its length that's the problem. I think it's too low. Like, I think it goes up there. Like that. What do you think? No, then I lost some of the bend in the elbow. That's a little better. But yeah, the arm just feels a little short, huh? So we're just going to grab it. Boo-doo-doot, 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 like that. There you go. Fixed. Now, I know it may not be perfect or whatever, but and I appreciate the comment, but if I get into repair mode, I won't make it to the end. So if we really need to, we can repair toward the end. Okay, so I'm going to fill in his fur thing. This is another way that I know you guys probably, I get asked all the time, like, how do you do so many damn things? Like, when do you sleep and stuff? Well, one of the tricks that I use to get so much done is to really stave off that instinct to fix things. I think it really eats time. Now, do things need fixed? Hell yeah. I'm not good enough for things to not need being fixed, but I just wait. You know, I'm a huge believer in done, not perfect. Huge believer in that motto. Just finish. You know, you can really worry about if it's perfect or not later, like after you publish. Because that's the time to learn. You can't learn while you're trying to get a thing done, or you just never get anything done. You know, I rely on a lot of people to support me while I discover refined quality. You know, like with ICRPG, it was almost 1,500 people playing ICRPG for a year to really master building that game. Building RPGs isn't simple. It takes a lot of people working together and a lot of smart people, and it's fun. It's been an honor, really. Okay, so here's this face. I saw a question pop up. The real question is, how do you know when to stop Empire role-playing? I think that you have to rely on some inner sense, and it's a childlike sense of being satisfied. And it's not that I'm satisfied as an artist. It's satisfying, and then I got my thrill. Like, I'm sure all you guys remember when you were, 8 years old, 10 years old, and you're doing RPGs and like all the terrible drawings you would do and everything. But how they would get the job done as far as like the fun that you were looking for. You would be satisfied in the level of fun you were having. Not like, I am now an artist. You're not thinking that when you're 8 years old. And I think it's important to stay in touch with that instinct as an adult and utilize it to know when you're done. Like, I drew this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. He's good enough to at least put on my notebook so we can play our session today. That's a good instinct to keep. So I'm not even going to fill in that fist. I like it just being suggestive like that. All right, he's got the mad quads here. Got a big quads back here. Now I think all these guys just have these like lock-kneed battle stances, so the poses aren't that dynamic, but that's okay. And then he's got these sort of big iron like tube boots like this. You guys have all seen these. But yeah, when to stop is something that it's going to take a lifetime to truly know the answer to that question. I'm sorry that that's such a mean answer. I think this foot is going sideways in some ways, so it's kind of like that. And then that kneecap I drew completely wrong, so it kind of goes out like that. And don't worry about it. All that's going to shake out in the wash a little bit here. And then here's the other foot. And remember, it may or may not be natural for these feet to be flat on the ground, but for the sake of making a miniature or a token, works great. Okay, now all these shapes in the back just become one. They're all shadowed. And then I'm going to use the eraser to clean it up. Again, tokens and bold black are friends. Okay, come on, computer. There we go. Something is going weird with my machine. It just got weird and laggy on me for a minute there. It never lags. Okay. Somebody in my neighborhood is downloading. Sometimes if I'll be using like some of Sparth's brushes or something, like right in mid-stroke, the whole thing will just go whoom, and I get like this slow motion paintbrush of doom as it ever so slowly slides across my screen. Like, why? No. All right. So not quite pure black on the lead foot, just to give you some perspective, you know, it's because just want to sort of illuminate that foreground a bit. In this case, sometimes the foreground is darker than the background, but not this case. Okay. Cool. I don't like that little thing. I don't know why I put that there. There we go. So now, is he, you know, everything that he could be? I'm not sure. But I know that he's capturing the essence of the character. He's distinguishable. And that's doing the main piece of the work. So let me get rid of this little stray line. And let's do the weapon. And we're just about to call him good. Now he has this more like executioner style blade, if you can see in the miniature. Let me spin him a little bit here. Here, we can get a back view. Actually, that back arm is also armored. So we'll put some little hints of armor back here, which are just like little edges and cuts. But see, like just that right there just kind of implies armor. You can even put like a line like that, a little highlight that's being caught by the light. Now he's got this sort of blocky looking axe. It's like a nasty weapon. So the angle isn't quite where I want it because it's not giving me enough room to have fun. So I'm just going to put it where I get to have the fun I want to have. All right, and then badass axe, all filled in black. I drew some immortals and I liked it. The children of Azathoth. Eric Sheely. So, hey, that's a great question, man. Thank you for bringing that up. When I was originally conceiving of the Children of Azathoth and the Viking Death Squad, I knew that I was going to do a big craft project with all minis that were made specifically for the project. And so I just went on Reaper, and I used their mini finder tool. So if you go on Reaper Minis, not Reaper Bones, but Reaper Miniatures, you'll see they have a tool that you can enter like male, beard, battle axe as your sort of your variables, and then you can browse all of the miniatures they have that'll fit those tags, and they have cataloged hundreds, if not thousands, of miniatures on that site that you can search. It is amazing and wonderful, and I love it. So that's what I used. So I don't remember exactly what this guy is called as far as those terms go, but okay. So I'm just going to get these fist lines a little bit. So that's how I looked up all 5 of the Viking Death Squad miniatures, because I also wanted to use metal miniatures. I didn't want to use plastic at all, mainly because I wanted that weight. So that's also, if you take a closer look here, why I did these double bases. So you can see I have a Pathfinder pawn base, and then under that I have this Sculpey base, and they really weigh a lot. They weigh the same basically as clay. So you get a lot of nice weight, and I really have taken that to the next level with the junked miniatures, which I'm going to be revealing here probably within about a week or 2 weeks. Kind of the state of the art on my miniature art. And I'm really excited to show everybody what I've been doing there. That's been a month-long project probably by now. Okay, I'm going to get a little bit of interior detail on his big tube glove, and then he's got some sort of damage on it. A little damage on his shoulder, a little more detail in the face, and just by detail I just mean like just tiny little lines. That's it. I mean, it's not like detail. Okay, then I think I'm done. That's Scar. Does he perfectly match the miniature? I don't know. I don't care. Moving on with life. Like, God, this miniature is so dope. Oh yeah, he has like an extra little cape on the mini, but I don't like how it breaks his form up, so I'm good. I'm done. So I'm not going to carry you through it because time is slipping away, but same thing here. I would make a pre-gen for my player, give him some basic stats and some starter data, and move on with life. So let me save, since I've got two good guys here. Okay. All right, Scar. Exit stage right, please. Now let's. We may only have time for one more, so let's change our pace here. Let's go for something really different. This is Velda. Say hello to Velda, the one of two females in the Viking Death Squad. And this is a really popular miniature. I know that this mini has been beloved over the decades, that a lot of people have painted this one in different ways, and this is a really famous mini, and it's a great mini. So the robe sculpting on it is dope. The hood shadow is really cool. Flying Axe Blade. What's that? I know Zach Z-Trip. It's if you could. Oh yeah, Z-Trip. Z-Trip is amazing. Saw him here in Seattle years ago. Absolutely incredible DJ and performer. Okay. So Velda is my sort of dark, sort of warlocky character. And so my bullet notes on her is that she is beyond a sense of morality. She is like just beyond this sort of human sense of the world. She's much more supernatural, and she's attuned to all these strange supernatural energies. And so you take the mage sort of role in the group, and you push it so that she's more almost like a supernatural force. And this gives more role play opportunity, in my opinion, than sort of just a mage. You know, I'm a person. Instead, she is kind of this, you know, almost not human anymore type creature. So this is going to be a hair more challenging in some ways. Oh, hey, Shaker, thanks, buddy. I keep telling you to save them ducats. So here I'm really concerned, and I always am, I hope you guys can relate, about how good I am at drawing hood shadows, because hood shadows can be very difficult. So I'm just going to kind of keep my eyes on the mini and try to catch some of these folds and make sure I get this hood. And then it has like a little bit of a cloak piece to it. And there we go. Okay, so now my line isn't quite aggressive enough. You know, this line here determines so much tone of how a hood shadow feels. That line up there. So I'm going to get rid of my first line. And that's a little better. It's almost like the eye line of the face is implied by that upper side hood line on a hood shadow. And if it's angled back, it looks like they're smiling or looking up or optimistic. And if it's angled forward, they look mean and brooding and kind of like they're frowning. I know that's reading a lot into a hood shadow line, but I'm telling you, that is a clutch line in a drawing. And I'm always nervous about my ability to do it. I'm never fully satisfied with my hoods. You know, with just generally with cloth, as a general rule, it is a really tough thing to do. I'm going to donate whenever I can. Thanks, man. Appreciate Dot. Look at that cash. Look at that cash. Renegade 16. Oh, man. That's an active ICRPGer right there. Okay, so she's got some kind of little thing going on here. Looks like she's got some sort of stuff going on. I'm not really going to do any sort of like boobs or very feminine kind of look here, because that's just not her character. Her character is darker than that, is less personal than that. And then as far as her, looks like she's got a scroll in one hand, some stuff, and then she's got the staff. So she's got this kind of loose grip on the staff, which I like. That's kind of different. So that means her fingers don't reach all the way around to her palm. Is a good way to draw loose grips. I know that, you know, doing hands is really complex for, you know, new artists. But one way you can do it is like that. Another way, since I'm kind of going off the mini, is you can actually bring the hand around like this. And then there's the thumb. And this sort of shows that their wrist is wrapped around the staff. And my scale is a little off here, so she needs to be down there. I'm going to shrink her a little bit like that. Go down here, and then there we go. Now I cheated on the bottom of that line because I'm just using shift to draw a straight line. But it'll get me where I need to go, and then I can start to add some variation to the line later. Okay. Not satisfied with that hand by any stretch, but it's okay. Just remember that. Just move on. Just be happy. And we're getting that weird, reasonless lag. I don't know if I'm like running something else. Let me see if I can quit some things here. Quit. Did that help? You guys are like, dude, seriously? Seriously, dude? Can you get your act together, please? Okay, so they're a little happier with the hand since I've made it sort of more suggestive. It isn't really there. It's just a blob. Okay, and then getting down here to this sleeve. And so you see I'm a little bit maybe off the exact map of the miniature. And since I focused in so much on the hood, I lost my sense of scale. See, look at that. I drew her way too big because I was so worried about the hood. So I'm going to bring her down. Get her up here. She's still too, and it's more like that. So I can just use these guys as a scale reference. Oops. Like there. Is she comparable now? Now she's a little too small. So I'm going to come up there. Now she's too big. So what I'll use is like head comparison. So she's female. She's a mage, not a warrior, and so I'm thinking about yay. About yay. Okay, get out of here, Scar. All right, so there she is. Now, here you go. Since I cheated, my line weight is like too thin now. You see that? So I have to unfortunately go in here and kind of retrace some of my steps to get this line weight back where it should be. Okay, now I've got a little error in the curl of her garment. So you see, you guys how I'm a lot less sure of myself because I'm doing a clothy character. But that's okay. Uncertainty is part of life, you know, just accept it. Just have fun. I don't know if you guys, you know, sort of think that my affirmations are cheesy or something. I don't mean them to be fake or Bob Rossi or anything like that. I'm just trying to be honest with like what I go through when I draw. Oh man, gotta bail. All right, later, second. White out there is for a white Sharpie of some kind. Yeah, I do. I use a white paint marker. I use a white Gundam marker. You could also use, you know, a white Ceram coat if that's what we're talking about is for painting. But nothing beats like Citadel paints. I know they're overpriced and they come in a very small package, but they have just the right amount of sort of thickness to them and coverage, and they're very effective. Okay, so I'm gonna truncate the detail of this back arm. Partially because I'm making a token, so I just don't need it. Partially because it just sort of sells this feeling of being back there. I'm like, where's the sweet spot? I don't know. I'm still looking for it. Oh, there goes my lag again. That's charming. Good grief. Okay, I'm going to have to kill some of this other stuff. There we go. Got some ridiculously high-res files open in Photoshop there. Never apologize for Bob Rossiness. Oh, hey, Kaylin, what up, dude? Can't wait to see you at Gen Con, my brother. Alright, so here's her little waist thing. And, you know, I'm going to come back in and do some sort of potions and stuff on her belts. But I'm still just worried. I'm worried that I'm going to nail this character. So I'm going to allay that worry before I really move on. But I like how she's kind of leaning on the staff. You see how bringing the hand around the staff gave me that feeling of like leaning on it. And it just goes to show like how delicate some suggestions of the human figure are. It can just be a tiny little lump, and it includes all this implied flappadoo So let's bring this around. I noticed that the miniature has a scarier hood than I did too. Like it's a bit like this, and I like that. So I'm gonna try to capture that. You know, I just get so nervous with doing hoods. There we go. So let's kill the previous line like that, and there's our scarier warlock hood. Ooh, I like that. That's cool. Man, that's inhuman. Okay, so here's the second hand, and this hand has this scroll. She's kind of just got this light grip on it. There's a lot of shadow from the sleeves. And you get this down to the ground. There we go. I'm really liking how the staff feels in her hand. That's really great. Almost like she's sort of tired. And then here's this scroll. I'm not going to do like a bunch of flaps and wrinkles. Just keep it real simple. Make it manifold, so close the openings. And hey, you know, I know I just get into what I'm doing, everybody, but thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. You know, I really appreciate it. And I hope that everyone's enjoying the slightly different, you know, I'll get my camera settings tuned in, but kind of been thinking a little more about getting back to some of my crafting. And so that means getting back to miniatures and getting back to terrain and just this, that, and the other thing. You know how interests come and go. And so I wanted to sort of get into some close-up camera work during live streams, and we'll see if we can improve really how that feels as we go forward. And I know a lot of you guys have taken inspiration from my bumbling through crafting and taken your own journey. That's amazing. So I never want to leave that part of the hobby behind. It's just there's so many fun things to do. Okay, so here's this scroll that she's carrying, which is like a scroll of greater spike growth. So I'm going to do some runes on it first, and then there's this sort of diagram from ancient times about how to conjure this with ancient forces and using the alignment of the planes to manifest deadly spikes. Okay, cool. So I don't need a ton of stuff going on there, just an implication of magic presence. Because remember, this is going to be small. Really going to be small. Yeah, thanks, Pyronide. That's kind of the idea. I don't really want to be trapped or beholden to what's on the mini, but it gives me, I can look right over here on my other computer where the chat stream is, and I can see that camera feed. And it's real nice for helping me stick to the shapes. So let's bring her back so I can get a sense for how this leg is coming out. So a lot of this is going to be simplified for the sake of a token, but let's just do this. She has this sort of supernatural wind on her robe. It's just that. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do a bunch of crazy stuff. There you go. Then a lot of this I'm going to fill in. Because of her staff, she's just really pressing the vertical boundary of my space here. That becomes shadow in there. A lot of this is going to become shadow. I think my dogs are starting to get a little antsy. They want to go on their morning journey. I'm sure any of you guys out there with pupping dogs, little hound dogs, you know what I'm talking about. Once they start getting annoyed with not going, oh boy, it's trouble in the kingdom. Okay, so we're gonna, oh, there's that insane lag again. I don't know what's causing that. It must be like OBS or something. OBS is I love the interface of the tool, but it is a massive resource hog. That part I can't stand, but I just haven't found an alternative. If you guys know something I don't, I would welcome any knowledge in that area. I just love how easy it is to use to do multiple images and scenes and all that stuff. Okay. Let's just get this stinking thing done. Can we? Can we do that, please? There we go. So notice, to get my first shadow line, when I'm doing these horizontal shadows, sometimes I'll hold shift and get that perfect horizontality. And it'll just give me reference, and then I can twist my body around and pull some nice horizontal lines with that as the guide. And then the staff is touching the ground right there, so it gets its own little line, and there we go. Clean that up a little bit. There's a straight line there, but I think it looks kind of cool. Get some wrinkles in the cloak, and then get some heavier darks in the cloak. So, and yeah, she's looking pretty cool, right? Feeling it. Really fun. Man, and I was so worried about doing the cloth too. I was just like, oh, I'm going to screw this up. I know it. Okay, so there we go. And now I wanted to do some little potions and doodads. So first I'm going to fill this in. Then I'm going to use my eraser. And look at this. I'm going to draw these little guys. Blurp, there's the cork. Bloop, there's the little stem. Bloop, there's the little piece. Then blurp, cork, stem, bloop, piece. And then these little lines, which are like little strappy things she has. And then there's this little thing. That's all you need, because remember how small this thinking thing's going to be. It's going to be an inch tall. Really, all you're going to see is some little white stuff on it. Okay, there we go. So she's got a couple little magical doodads there. A couple little doodads in her belt. That one's got a little cork top on it. There's a little seam along her cloak there. There's a spot where it got ripped and she fixed it. And then there's kind of this dirt and damage here. And then since she's a magician, there you can do CITA, the CITA. That's the James Cameron acronym, which means crap in the air. So she has these little dots of whatever, of dust or magic. And then remember in the beginning I mentioned breaking up some of this perfect line on the staff. So I'm just going to go in, follow the line a little bit, but also add some little wraps. And this little wrap is also in the sort of supernatural wind that's buffeting. And there you go. That is Velda, the warlock. She's beyond a sense of human morality. Now, as a final thing, just for fun, make the staff go behind her cloak. Well, but she's got her hand right in front of her. So, I mean, we could do it if you want to see what it would look like. It would look like that. See, that's not how perspective is going to work with her. She has it in front of her. So, good critique though. So what I'll do is I'll just give her knuckles, some detail like this. And it maybe will bring the hand forward. Like that. But then I don't like it. So I'm just going to I'm going to stand my ground. I like it how I did it. I like the critique. Also, everyone should feel free to just bomb critiques on me anytime you want to. Christopher Brandon, I'm using a Cintiq. Yeah, I draw directly onto the screen. Okay, what was I doing before that? I think I was done. This is Velda. Oh, I know what I was doing. My final thing was I was going to try this. What do you guys think? Does that make her too human? I think it kind of does. I think I like it better when it's just dark in there. Like, I don't even know if there's like a face in there. There just might be darkness in the hood. Yeah, the arm is really stiff on the scroll. It's like the elbow is locked. The way that I could fix that would be to change the angle that the hand is at. So it would be like kind of like that, right? And then it's a really good critique, but I'm also sort of just kind of out of time. So see, that just adds a little bit of bend to the arm. See how I did that? Because I really don't want to get into like mucking with it. Yeah, I think black in the hood, Kaylin, I agree with you. The black in the hood is just too gnarly. I think if you put too many little eye holes in there, you get like an Orko effect. Sometimes maybe you want an Orko effect, but I don't want one in this case. And I am done. Hitting Control S, and I'm just going to call it right there. But the body looks stiff, with tension possibly. Well, I'm okay with that. So, yeah, the other Vikings have a lot of skin, but this is the very nature of this particular character, is just there is no skin visible. None. Now, I don't even think there is a person in there. That's how far I think this goes. I think she's actually just darkness wearing a hood. And I like that idea. I mean, that almost could become a bullet point for the character. It's like, This is darkness in a cloak. All right, hit and save. That is 3 of the Vikings. Now, if you guys will bear with me, I mean, there's still 92 of you watching. Let's go. Let's keep going. CARDTOONS. Wow, that's working in medium. Well, for me to resume the CARDTOONS series, appreciate the question. Asopsteles? I would need to build another high-powered PC to run medium. So currently SOL on a PC that's strong enough to run medium. It takes the cutting-edge business. So we'll get back to that. Sculpting in medium is really fun. Unfortunately, the output of it, I wasn't finding a lot of usefulness for its output. You know, the 3D prints for medium turned out pretty disappointing. They were time prohibitive, the meshes were really messy, and it would be smarter to use ZBrush, and a lot of limitations came up and bit me in the butt with that. I may steal that idea for my Star Wars ICRPG. Yeah, great idea, Renegade. Darkness in a hood. And then like at some point, like something happens and the hood is pushed back and there's just nothing there. There's not like a dark head. There's just nothing. It's an empty cloak. You know, like straight Obi-Wan steez, only worse. Jason Tang, GoFundMe for yeah. Well, hey, I wouldn't turn you down. If CARDTOONS mean that much to you. You know, I really try not to ping you guys for cash. Like, that has limits, you know what I mean? I try not to be that guy. Yeah, the Alienware befell a terrible doom that rather leave off the channel and not talk about, if that's okay. But let's just suffice it to say it's not in my life anymore. Okay, let's move on to Vanier. Now, Vanier is a funny name for an individual Viking because, as you all know from Conan, the Vanier are actually a people. They're these red-headed Northmen who are kind of mean to the Cimmerians and stuff like that. They're slavers. But for the sake of the Viking Death Squad, I just went ahead and named one of them Vanier because it just feels like this immortal name. So in my thought, maybe Vanier was so old, he was the person who started those people in the Conan stories. Renegade 16. Yeah, man, that idea sounds really cool. You know, and maybe that's a whole new level of the Force, is that you can manifest a darkness form, like an astral form of shadow, and actually walk around in it. You know, a little bit like Luke did, only not to that power level where it looks like you. It just is like darkness or like smoke, you know. Okay, so Vanier is this very heroic character. He's like never yield type attitude. I describe his archetype as a hero. So he's always charging forward. He's always enough talk, more action kind of a character. And so I need to capture this very dynamic pose. And I'm already like nervous about it. So, you know, I don't want to make you guys think I'm freaking out or anything, but I know how you guys feel doing art for your RPGs, and like being worried about your ability to nail it is a big part of doing this hobby. Okay, so I think I see the shapes I like. Yeah, Photoshop, Christopher Brandon, that's the only way to draw, in my opinion, if you're going to draw digitally. Okay, so here's about my pose that I want to do. So one thing is nice that I like already is I'm not going to have to get too into the perfection of the legs. So let's just get into it. And hey, I know for anybody who takes offense to Vikings with too big of horns on their helmets, you better tune out now because this is about to happen. He is going to have a giant, historically inaccurate Viking helmet. And I don't care. It's going to be dope. So we're going to get these big like longhorn things on here. Make sure he's got this strong jawbone, and he's another one of our super beards. And if I can, I'll squeeze in a sort of a yelling mouth. He's also blonde beard, so we're going to have a little bit of challenge with that. I'm not allowed to just fill it in. So as a counterpoint, what we'll do is we'll fill in his skin like this. And we'll portray his beard almost in negative space. Like it's you know, I remove to draw the beard rather than adding. But it's going to be very hard at this scale, because remember, these are pawns, to portray a yelling mouth. I don't have a lot of room here. You know, at 1 inch tall, a token's face is pretty stinking small. So here we go. I'm going to try to make some black space for myself, and then I'm going to use eraser and just go and just do these little teeth like this, just 2 little lines. But it just doesn't work, so I'm just going to leave it right there. I think that's all I get. That's all I'm allowed. Okay, I'll go here, and there we go. That's the start of it. You know, and hey, dog. Oh my gosh. Hang on a second. I had to intervene. They're after my almonds. All right. Okay, so here we go. Dogs. It's like the squad commander is calling out, dogs. Everybody get on the ground. We got dogs. All right. So time for the most fun part, which is the ridiculous horns. Boom. Nailed it. This one's going to be harder because my hand is in the wrong position. Hey, that'll do. So look at the size of these things. I mean, these would weigh like 14 pounds. Be ridiculous. Plus the first guy that you go into combat with, he just grabs you by the horns, pulls you to the ground, and like snaps your neck. So it's not a terribly practical design, but history has decided that it's cool AF. So who am I to fight? Okay, so you see I've got a little bit of a different style going here because I wanted to do that blonde beard. And he does have like the studded kind of look here. So I'll just get a couple of little suggestions because I don't want to get into too much detail. And then I'm going to give him little tiny eye dots. There we go. Oh man, I'm so close to getting that mouth. How can I do it? How can I do it? Maybe I can make an opening here. Then go back to dark. You guys are really seeing behind the curtain now. Hey there, almost got it. It just gives him a little bit of a Hassenpfeffer look, but at least that's a little better. Is Hassenpfeffer like... Is that an epithet? I just, that bottom lip, it's not bad. It's not bad, honestly. There's the nose. Cool. I'm satisfied. I'll take it because I got to move on. Okay, and I haven't been looking at my mini much, but he's got this like mane of blonde hair. Like it's like a big theme for him. So I want to capture that. I can't shy away. I love how much you just attack the artboard. Man, Hunter, I got to tell you, this is probably the biggest message I have for my entire audience. For actually, not even audiences is the wrong word. For people. For people that I know, people that I talk to, people that I've worked with. This is the message almost of my life is like, go ahead and feel the doubt. There's nothing wrong with feeling doubt. But then sort of join me in defying it. You know? But we all have to be honest that we feel that doubt. We have to talk about it. It can't be avoided. Not in a healthy way, anyways. Okay, so where is my camera here? Oh, the whole ordeal with the dog got me to move my camera. Sure, blame the dog. It's just an innocent beast. Okay, so his back shoulder is up. So we got a lot of foreshortening here. And then the blade looks like is kind of at this angle. I don't even know right now. Fist blob, arm, all foreshortened. Boy, that's terrible. What just happened to me? I just lost my poop. Lost my doo-doo. So where's the hand? Is it there? It's a back-facing hand, those are never easy to do. So I think my angle just got too extreme. So that's a little easier. I can't do it so foreshortened that there's just nothing. And then shield. Wow, did you see that? Holy crap! The drawing gods just granted me a boon. Did you see that? Wow. That was just a free-handed circle. Oh, man. Hey, Sam. Yeah, we got to do 2 bug minis, don't we? Well, and an ohm mini. Now, I'm going to be sitting here all day at this rate. All right. How sweet it is to be loved by you. All right, here we go. What kind of gear has he got? He's got like a shirt. He basically just wears a tunic. So let's get the tunic on there. Now see, I'm modifying him a little bit from his mini because I just want this drawing to feel good. But you see how I'm hiding? I'm not feeling tremendously confident in the piece, so I'm hiding in all this detail. I get more lines and I get more touches and I get more things that are making me feel better about myself. But it's going to make for a worse miniature. So I just need to get strong with it and just believe. I mean, you want to talk about sounding cheesy, good Lord. But I gotta admit, I am insanely psyched about that circle that I drew for the shield. That just makes me feel great. Drawing circles is the final frontier. Hey, I think I came away with the yelling mouth, so that's a victory. All right, so which leg is up? The leg that corresponds to the axe arm is his up leg. Behind the shield, kind of like, there's so much foreshortening going on here. It's just bonkers. So it's like there, and it's there. And then the other one is like down here, and down here. Ah, there we go. So now, even though my circle is so profoundly wondrous, by my own description, there, look at that lovely, lovely lag. It's actually sort of out here, and I'm going to cheat. I'm going to foreshorten it a little bit. I'm going to grow it. Oh my God, I hate drawing with lag. Absolutely hate it. Here we go. And it's just not big enough. So I'm going to have to go. It's really sad because that line was so strong. But I'm going to have to go over it again and do stuff. I'm going to have to take steps, y'all. Taking steps, you know what I mean? I'm going to take steps on this. And then he has this design, which, you know, I have to capture that exact design. That's non-negotiable. So now I'm getting tired of like that doubt mode that I was in, so I'm just trying to blast. There we go. So much coffee. So many onesie. I don't even have a t-shirt on. I just got my onesie on. I'll jump out in front of the camera toward the end here so you guys can believe me. It is a lifestyle choice, I tell you what. All right, here we go. And you guys think I'm kidding. I am not joking. I got a high-tech onesie. All right, so he's got his belt, which is sort of pushed up because of his striding position. He's got this sort of tunic thing going on. Arm is all hidden behind here. This is just black because that's like his tunic or whatever. Maybe his entire tunic is black. Let's experiment with that. Yep, I like that a lot better. That brings that beard out. There we go. That's what I needed. Oh, that's so much better. So now this whole tunic down here, the rest of the tunic under the belt and beyond the leg can all be black. There we go. Now the boots, he's got fur boots. A lot of them do. That's kind of this style of Reaper that I got. He's got the cross straps like that. He's got his boot down there. And I'm a little out of hand on scale, so let's get Scar up for scale again. There he is. So yeah, Vanier's a little too big. Vanier is also more outstretched though, but I'm just going to match like head sizes and that should unify them pretty good. So that's a little small. There's my stupid lag again. Okay, we'll call it right there. Goodbye, Scar. Ah! Back leg is shrouded in shadow. There's this. You see? Ah! I will crush you. And his just pose is so extended that he's going to take up more space. He's going to be a taller mini. It's just that simple. I will crush the foes of mankind, but also question the morality of those who imprison me, i.e. the war pigs. So right now, I think I just, instead of doing this piecemeal, I think I just need to clear some space. There we go. This is clearing out boot space. And now I'm going to go back to my marker, and I'm just going to do this like sort of cross-strappy look that he has. See what I mean? Instead of like eking it out, I just destroyed my work and went back and just did it again. Always a dance between those two options. Always a dance. Like life is a dance. Now I need more blonde beard. Eraser is too big. Oh boy, here come the dog now. Now he's like right next to me, looking balefully at me like, when can I go sniff the other dog's pee? Please. Great, there we go. Now that's a blonde Viking. Yeah. Look at that. You can't tell me you're not feeling that. Come on. Rah! The shield needs more horns. Tips on adding detail to 2D maps. Wow, that is a random one. You mean artistic tips, or I mean my basic tip would be don't put anything on a map that doesn't have a story to it. Because maps have a way of just getting arbitrary stuff happening. Like here's a little blob, here's a little blob, here's some mountains, here's some trees, and they have no purpose. I see that a lot in people's dungeon maps too, is that the dungeon map looks really cool, but so much of the detail actually adds nothing to the dungeon. It's just wiggly walls, you know? So that way if you do want to add a detail that adds to the dungeon, you've kind of cried wolf on detail. Okay. So let's get this bottom foot. I keep procrastinating on this bottom foot. Let's get it done. It's just sort of like a banana. It's kind of a bit of a banana. And then give it some mass. And mess that up. So, oh my God, lag. Why? I swear it's OBS doing this. I know it in my heart. Let's see if I can do this little step. Yeah, I have 56 megs of free memory. So let's wait for a moment while we free up memory. Freeing up. Freeing up. Freeing up. There we go. 2 gigs free. All right, so let's get this little banana foot figured out. There we go. That's a little better. Now it's not quite the same size, but the shape is right. Or the shape is right. Who am I to say? I don't know what the right shape is. Okay. A little heel, a little boot. There we go. I'm happy with that. This front foot is not my favorite foot. But again, I'd rather be done than fiend over it. So I'm just going to kind of add some fur, a little bit of mass. I think my dog is now resorting to gas as a method to convince me to get out of the house because I am dying. I am suffocating and I am dying. All right. Here we go. Hey, everybody. Walked to store and you were still going. I don't know what. How much memory do you have in the system? I don't know. I don't know those things about my computers. I just use my computers until they stop working and then I get new computers. I don't mean to sound flippant, but I use tools as tools. I don't like to actually put thought and work into the tools. If they don't work, I have no interest in them. I usually need help purchasing tools because all my thought and energy goes into how to use tools, not the tools themselves. I know that sounds ridiculous, but there it is. Okay, so I'm going to scroll up a little bit here to give myself some space since he's such a tall character. So that's the shape I want. It's sort of this little mountain shape, and then he actually has a curved weapon too, which is kind of cool. Okay, and then he has a bearded axe. So if you guys are familiar with a bearded axe, it's basically an axe where the blade is narrow up at the stem and then has a large blade extension like that. Sometimes has an extra little thickness piece on the base. Like that. And it has, yeah, it does come off the back. It actually has a one-piece head like that. So we'll just do that. And for the sake of boldness, I'm going to keep the haft white, and I'm going to go with a black blade. And then I'll show you a little blade highlight trick that'll hopefully make it pop. One of the silliest sayings in art is making it pop. But man, it is so used. So common to hear that. Okay, so I'm going to use eraser to sharpen my blade, and the lag is absolutely going to make me explode. I also have like an update that I've been putting off for like 2 weeks, so that's probably not helping. This head actually doesn't go through the haft, it goes around the haft, so I'm going to do this. Leave a tiny white highlight there, and go down and curve it around like that. There we go. Okay, then you get your eraser, delineate your blade like that, and then you put this white section on your blade like this with a little stripe, and that puts that highlight on there. And then I'll just give him some little carvings. Nothing crazy. Then we'll add the leather wrap. His thumb is kind of there. But since the hand is facing away from the camera, you really don't see like lots of finger and thumb detail. It's just not there. And there you go. Now we'll bring it in. Bracers. Again, he has this more sort of clothy, tunicky vibe, so his bracers a little different. Oh, that's fun. Boy, that's just really different from the other guys. But suddenly I feel like some of these highlights and white parts are not needed. You feel that? Like, this isn't needed here. This just isn't doing anything. It's desolidifying him, if anything. Let's see if I can just... Nope, can't do that. So you need some in here. So I'll just kind of make some suggestions like that. Great. Okay, now there is a piece. So I'm going to show you guys what I was talking about earlier about being able to scale drawings up without messing them up. So check this out. Remove the shield because I want a bigger shield. Here it is. You right-click this button, convert to smart object. Then when you scale it up, it won't pixelate it. Everything will stay intact. Make my adjustments. Wait for lag. Rasterize. And come down to here. So you'll get a perfectly preserved piece of pixel without mucking it up. But being able to scale it up. It's a fun little trick. Okay, put that back in. There we go. Now we get the size of the shield that I really want. Shades of Hagar the Horrible. Oh, I love Hagar the Horrible. In your style, how do Dwarven runes and Elven runes compare? That's a fun question. It's a bit of a digression, but let's play with that digression really quickly. Pyronide, thanks for the question. So these would be Dwarven runes. Right? And then my Elven runes, I would do two things. I go down in pen size, I crush my pen more, and then I also just let myself flow a lot more. So it's a sort of a matter of letting the curls happen. Also, I imagine elves as always having serifs and, you know, extra little dots and stuff, kind of almost like Arabic or something. But yeah, about like that. I don't think I need to really take it much further. If you wanted to go even more Dwarven with things, you can always like clip off your rounds like that, and it'll make it look like they're cut with a chisel. So I'm just using an eraser to cut off the round edges of my lines. And over time, you'll get this blockier feel, which can obviously feel more Dwarven, like that. See what a difference that made just by doing that? Some people would say your axe is upside down. Grin, wouldn't that be... Oh, wouldn't that be a revolution in art? Extended reach and just as much cleavage. But I'm chatty as all get out, so I'll go bug another. Okay? I do want to give him another weapon. Oops, you see, now I've still got this chisel. I need to relax that chisel. That's just too much. There we go. And here he's got like this Uthbert short sword. Super simple. Just a suggestion that he's sort of armed. So see there, I just put an extra line there that I'm going to clean off immediately to give me that angle. So I'll do that sometimes. Okay, great. I'm just going to give him his shadow, and I'm going to call him done because I'm just out of time here. 10:30. Good God. Been drawn forever, you guys. We still got 94 people tuned in. That is amazing. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. You honor me. You honor me by giving me gas. All right. So his shield is technically in front of his launching foot, so that would make the shadow lower. So there's his shield shadow. All these are going to be part of the miniature. The only thing that I don't love about this stream right now is the lag I'm experiencing in Photoshop. And it's intermittent. That's what's so weird. I'll just be cruising along and then bang, lag. Now I am using my Photoshop computer as my streamer computer. Maybe that's dumb, but that's life. That's life, my friends. That's life. See how we're doing on memory there? Trucking. It's slowly leaking away because something's wrong with my machine or something. All right. There we go. That's enough. Stop. Just quit it. Now I'm going to add a couple little pieces of motion since he's like dynamic. And I'm good to go. There is Vanier, the most heroic of the Viking death squad, the one who never wants to compromise, who always is just like, let's just go. Rah! One problem though that I just noticed, head's too big. So having a slightly smaller head than a real human will give a character a more heroic look. There we go. How do I know how big to make it? I don't know anything. completely going off of feel. There we go. Nice. Now there he just got bigger. He got taller. The size of the head gives your eye the sense of how big a person is. So when you shrink the head, they're like, whoa, he's bigger. It's a great illusion to play with. And hitting Control Save, we are done. Okay. I can't believe I'm just sitting here doing this. What am I doing? Okay, we're going to go back to some cloth for Arrow Odd. Now, if you guys have ever read any of the Viking sagas, this is a great character called Arrow Odd. I know it's a very strange name, but that is his name, and he's in a lot of these sort of almost parable-like stories about all these different adventures that he goes on and cool things that he does. So, I created a female archer character for the Viking Death Squad called Arrow Odd, and she is this sort of survivor of no nonsense are my bullets that I have for her. So she's become a Viking legend just by making it. And she's like, should always be the last one to go down in a fight. She's the one who will pull back. She was the one who will use cover. She's the one who will say, maybe we shouldn't do a frontal assault on the fortress. You know, that's her. She's smart, which I think is a fun role to play for an archer. It just fits. Frog Leap Studios. I don't know what that is. Braid that beard. I don't think there's room in a miniature of this size to do braids. I think it would just come out as little dots. So we're just going to let that one be. Plus, I'm closing the book on that particular piece. All right. Let's do Arrow Odd. So I don't want to capture that same hood shadow. And I'm not a big fan of the open bow pose that I see so much in fantasy art. So I think I'm going to try this style. Let's spin this guy around a little bit. Is that enough? There's my gigantic hand. Not quite there. Let's get a little more. And I want to do something a little different, which is go behind the character. And let's see if we can work with that a bit. Kind of like right there. And we're gonna modify what we're seeing a bit so that we can get a little more out of it. But let's think that way for a minute. Okay, so this is a bit of a different hood. This is a bit of a more of a good guy hood. But here we go with my tension. I'm scared. Okay, so now what's going to happen with this character is we've got this front arm, and here's the back shoulder. We're looking at the back, which is really different, at least for me. Is her hair coming out of here maybe? Ooh, that's kind of cool. Okay, so I'm just searching for the first lines that are going to make me start to feel confident about this. So go here. She's holding the bow out, and maybe her other hand is actually knocking an arrow, but we're not necessarily seeing that. Here we got an arm, then she has like her archer's bracer here, which is one of our few opportunities for detail. A little too stiff, so I'm just going to cheat, and I'm going to do that just to give a little bit of flex in the elbow. And then up comes the back of the thumb to give her that more natural hand position. And there we go. This is her bow holding hand. So we're going to have some fun with this bracer to get some interesting stuff going. I'm printing tokens right now for tonight's game with family and friends. Awesome, Sam. Hathor Dur. No way! The tunnel. The straight line dungeon. Oh man. It's so stinking deadly. So easy to underestimate. Okay, so there we go. That's a little bit of the cloak. You're not going to see her face. The real feature of this character is... Oh, are we onesie bros, Tanner? Here I am. I'm up here. Hey, guys. Here's my onesie. It's got a hood. See, this is my onesie right here. Let's be onesie bros. Okay, back to business here. Let's not get crazy. quiver. That's where a lot of this detail is going to be. So we're going to play with this idea that this quiver is really central to her character. And it's central to the character in that it's central to the piece. Okay, so I'm just trying to get my shapes in place. Now already I'm excited about this miniature because you normally don't see this view. This is really different, and like finding newness is a big challenge. For anybody out there doing art day in, day out, like newness is the holy grail in some ways. I'm going to modify a little bit so that she has a little more waistline like this. I'm going to give her a belt, and then we'll get into the... Okay, so time to show you guys my one cloth trick that I have. We are bronzies? That's too good. Okay, so what you do is you draw like a series of S curves, like a squiggly spaghetti line, as the bottom of your piece of cloth, like this. And vary it up. Okay, then you're done. Now, wherever the S curve bends outward, find the edge of the curve, and then go up toward the rest of your cloth, like this. Now just bear with me. Okay, now go back, and anything that's within those lines, you have to clean out, like this. See what just happened? You get this like drapery kind of magic there. Now, is that like super convincing fabric? Hell no, I don't know how to draw. But it does deliver the concept. I think the concept of this being a cloak comes through. And that's, in a lot of my artwork, that's what matters the most, is that I just deliver my idea. Even if it isn't, the best artwork. I like Frog Leap, but I think the screaming doesn't work for me. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm just going to be honest. Once screaming came up, I'm like, wait, what? Okay, I'm going to modify the miniature a little bit too and add some boot back here. And then the cloak in the front is shadowed and so on. Okay, I'm feeling it. Now, we need to do a few key things here. I'm going to do a strap on the quiver. This just doesn't feel quite right. I think a lot more of that back leg is gone in cloak, like this. There we go. Oh man, this is really different. I've just never done a miniature like this. This is great. Okay, here we go, here we go. This is great. I'm so cool. Just dumb. Sorry about that. Okay. There's the 3D on the quiver. There's like where it attaches. I'm going to do a dark belt here because I don't want this whole cloak to be dark. It's just going to get too dark. Dogs are so antsy. But this is the last character, guys. We're almost there with the children of Azathoth, the Viking Death Squad. All right, so she's got arrows. She got arrows, baby. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wrong tool. All right. Okay, then we're going to do we'll do the fletching here in a second. And then judging by the mini, she has like this sort of this style. And remember, I'm doing a little extra detail because this is kind of the most interesting thing she has going. She has like this crisscrossed lacing. And then there's some kind of weird triangle symbol there. The bottom is like metal or something. Not that kind of metal. Then there's a little shadow under each one. And actually the quiver might go black, at least the back side, like this. So we can get that strength. And by strength, I mean, like weight on the table, so that when you're looking at this thing from 4 feet away and it's an inch tall, you feel her presence. I know that sounds weird and obtuse. And I'm probably going to have to do a little bit of racing to brighten these crisscross laces up. And I can't wait to be done because this lag is making me explode inside. I'm screaming. I'm screaming inside right now, guys. And it's not there all the time. It's just like every 45 seconds or something, my computer decides to do another task. Like I can hear it right now, working on something. But I can't say I know anything about computers, and be honest. So cool, there we go. That's what I was hoping for. This really bold feeling to her quiver. Now let's do these fletchings. And when you're doing fletchings, don't worry about overlapping them or what's going to happen. You just need to get the mass in first. See how I just got the mass completed? Now I can worry about, you know, seeing in here. But you know, I don't know if you guys have ever seen a bunch of arrows in a quiver, but it's a mess visually. So you don't worry about drawing each individual arrow. It's like weird for the eye. I think it makes more sense to just have a little bit of a visual mess where the fletching is. Like that. I was teaching a gal to shoot bow, and Huge Finch can't talk about... I don't know. I don't know what any of that means. Okay. Here we go. We're going to focus where we can on detail. So I'm going to make this archer's glove of hers black. Then I'm going to go into it and add like tailoring detail like that. Now we're almost there to the fun part, which is the bow. This is like sort of dirt and shadow on her cloak, just to give it some humanity. It's just feeling a little empty in there to me. Right? You know, I don't know exactly what all these forms mean as her cloaks come together and sort of wrap around her and so forth, but you know, I'm just not worried about it. I just feel that she's a little simpler in some ways. It just makes sense. It feels right. Yeah, I don't know what has happened to the to the chat content. I don't know what you guys are talking about. All right, so this bow, I'm going to do like a bit of a recurve like this. So maybe she is like drawing it currently and we just can't see. And maybe we'll add a little suggestion of a rear hand. But I think the bow, just like, see that in the mini, guys? It's behind the cloak because of that we're behind her. So it's like that. And then the string is going back here. You can't even see that bottom string. And I'm going to have to modify a little bit of the hand. So I'm going to get a little bit of a lump here. There we go. It's just that simple. It's just like one finger is a little different is all I needed to feel a little more satisfied. Here's where she's got her wraps on the grip. And then there's just some character lines here just to give things. And then just make sure that everything's heavy enough. That's all I'm doing. I'm just reinforcing where her bowstring is tied on. Okay, now I'm going to just infer where this bow line goes. About here where you see my cursor is where I see the arrow to be held. So her arm is like back here. So I'm just going to provide a little bit of a hint of an arm like this. See that? That's all I'm going to give you. Now, my arrow, right down there, just right along that arm. Just talk about a hard line to draw. Good Lord. There we go. Got it. Then, pow. Pow. There. And make sure your arrowhead has a really sharp point so it looks appropriately threatening. And I know this one is like sort of more minimalist, but I really like it. I think it gives that difference that makes a player feel like they have another character. Or a different character, I guess is the better way to put it. Okay, so now I'm just finishing up her basing, as we might call it, her feet, her terminus. You know, I don't even need the highlight on the leg. See, it's just not doing anything for me. Here's her kind of other foot. She's got, you know, taller boots than a male character. It doesn't really, I mean, it's just, they're just grounding shapes, you know, it's just whatever. Clean them off. And by clean them off, I mean kind of shrink them a bit if they feel too bulky. And actually, because we're behind her, this is the closer leg, so it needs to be further down like there. There we go. So what I did there is I just moved it until, and I like blurred my eyeballs until I felt not wrong or a little less wrong. That's the extent of the entire trick. I have no real tricks to offer. Okay, so there we go. We're gonna get started on the shadow. She's got this large cloak mass, so the center of her shadow is the strongest part. A little bit of implication that the bow has a bit of shadow, and then under here. Then, just to be fun, with her sort of tailoring theme, on the back of her leg has a couple of laces on it. A little heel line. There we go. She's got a couple belt loops here. But just see how wildly different that is. Now, she's going to be too big, so let's bring Scar back. Scar, where you at? Yeah, so see how she got a little too big on me? So let's shrink her down so that she feels to scale with Scar. And she should be smaller than him. About like that. Okay, Scar, get out of here. So I noticed when I had Scar up that her line weight is a little bit under target. Probably because of lack of confidence. So I'm just going to go back a little bit very carefully so I don't kind of wreck the energy of my drawing. And I'm just going to strengthen some of this line weight. And what I mean by strengthen is thicken. You know, like just give it that Sharpie level weight that sort of my style hinges upon. There we go. She's cool. She's really different. I'm really happy about that. I know I keep saying that, but you guys know how I am with mantras. You know what the worst part is about having to take these dogs out? I have to put on clothing. How wretched is that? Okay, so there she is. She is the survivor, the tactician, the wise, more reserved fighter in the group who doesn't just always go blasting into a frontal assault. Really happy with that piece. That's really different. I could see an archer player feeling cool about that. The bow arm is pointed to the ground, but she might not be fully drawn yet either. Yeah, she isn't. She's not ready to fire. She's like lifting at this moment. Above the... I'm not sure. Great. Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys. Boy, I really appreciate everything. And, whew, okay, that was crazy. As far as a drawing stream, that was almost... no, that was 2 hours solid to do all 5 members of the Squidod. So just for people who fast forward on their YouTube videos, let me just do this for an ending. We're going to take all of them. And let's just get a... Can we gather around for a family photo here, folks? Can we gather around for a group shot, please? Let's just see all 5 of them together, can we? So I can tell Velda's a little big. Yeah. Oh, man. And Olaf's a little small. So let's get Olaf up. This is what happens when you draw things separately. Okay, so Olaf just comes up a touch. Yeah, Olaf and Scar go together great. Vanier looks good. But Svelda's a little big. So I'm going to bring her down like to there. I'm also going to make this change for Velda. These are probably the ones that I'll use for doing the miniatures. Check this out. Let's give Velda that. There's Velda, this taller staff. That's cool. Right? Got more room in the image to... Yeah. Nice. And ladies and gentlemen, let me get them below the camera clip there. Ladies and gentlemen, there I present to you the Viking Death Squad, presented for 2D print and play miniatures. Look at those guys. Those guys are crazy. There's not quite enough black in Arrow Odd. So real quick, just at this size, I'm just going to do a little bit of fill in. See that? Just a little bit, just to give her a little more weight. So at the table, she doesn't feel, you know, too light. There we go. That's it. That's all I needed. Yeah, so hey everybody, that is it for Saturday Cartoons today. Let's see if we can get, oh my gosh, these cords and those wires. Whoa! 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 Am I there yet? Am I here? Good gravy, man. Who's Gravy Man? I don't know. Okay. Hey guys, just me here in my onesie on Saturday morning, and that was 2 solid hours of drawing to get the Viking Death Squad done. So if you're watching either the original or yesterday's Viking Death Squad video and you want to get it done, here's going to be your minis. You can get them, you could pull them right off the screen grab here if you wanted to, or you can I'll post them in a little better form on Patreon. It's $1, gets you everything on Patreon. And then we'll do the insects and the Ohm and Thor at some later time. Maybe next Saturday, maybe before then. Who knows? Either way, that was 2 hours of total insanity and concentration. And I am bushed. I'm bushwhacked. So I'm going to get out of here. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We had 100 people throughout the stream. You guys are the absolute best. Jump over to runehammer.online. It's right here. That's my new sort of hive for my work, runehammer.online. You can go over there. You can also go to runehammergames.com, and that hooks into all this stuff. Thank you all for your support. Keep an eye out for the rest of the bugs and the Ohm, and some crafting videos coming up, and also the Junked project is going to start hogging attention. So if you guys know anybody that's playing Gaslands, give them a call. Tell them to come my way, because this is about to blow up. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. Thanks for spending your Saturday morning with me, and I will see you on the internets. Strength, honor, beer, bacon, coffee. Oh, the monkey man is in the fridge. Oh, the monkey man is on the ridge.